self-awareness, no deliberation, only, and I mean only, execution. With his reel-to-reel mixer blasting the anthem of a future that will never come, the young man observes your moves for a second. Throws a screwdriver and a bunch of drill chucks into the corner and explodes into dance. What he lacks in sharpness, he more than makes up for in violent enthusiasm. The young woman lifts.
Asil, aren't you going to dance?
No, recording.
The lead programmer throws the other young woman a knowing glance before turning her attention back to her own work. She's still at her mainframe, pressing buttons, reading printouts, but she started nodding her head along to the music. The young man immediately bounces up and down, then assumes the same dance pattern, embellishing it with some sort of waving motion. The authority of the law is clearly unquestionable.
What's going on here? Delinquents.
This is clearly a Code 31 emergency. The lieutenant squeezes the bridge of his nose. The lights reflect off his glasses. He's obviously having trouble adjusting to this new reality.
A Code 31 emergency? Really?
The lieutenant crosses his arms with a bemused look.
What's happening? How the hell are you dancing with a broken leg of yours? Good for you. Rock on, then. What?
Who's the one in charge? You are.
Are you kidding me? what?
Sheesh, okay.
Okay, you psychopath. I see what you're doing there. It's jacked up footwork, plus is that Ubi for dancing?
Nah, it's not Ubi folk. It's hardcore.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah? I did 15 years in the juvenile crime unit. I can do age inappropriate. Now, check this shit out.
The lieutenant begins to heel kick the church floor with such intensity, it's reasonable to fear he'll kick a hole right through it, causing the floor to crack and the pillars to collapse, bringing the church roof down on all of you. It doesn't look like he'd give a shit either. Part of him is amazed you're both able to just dance after all these horrifying events in Martinez. The dynamic motion of your flailing body is bordering on the extreme. You're going off the charts. You feel as if turning on the hyperdrive will be a point of no return. It feels almost melancholy. Are you sure you have the entire posse along for this?
Here we go again. Hardcore fills the air. The sound above my head.
What now? The sound above your what?
Above my hair, man.
Okay, this is too imbecilic. Excuse me.
On the coast of the Martinez Inlet, in a small weather-beaten stave church built 380 years ago by settlers from the Occident, most likely to guard against an anomaly at its center, an officer of the RCM is contorting his body into idiotically rigid shapes as he invents the future of dance music. It's the hardest anyone has ever danced.
I am la Revacholière. I am the city. I am a fragment of the world spirit, the genius Loki of Revachol. My heart is the wind corridor. The bottom of my air is red. I have 100,000 luminous arms. Come morning, I carry industrial dust and let it settle on tree leaves. I shake the dust from those leaves and onto your coat. I've seen you. I've seen you. I've seen you with her. And I've seen you without her. I've seen you. The modulations of my voice are noted down with thermometers and barometers. You feel me in your nostrils, on the little hairs on the back of your neck. I also reside in your lungs and vestigial organs. Everywhere there is space. You are an officer of the citizens' militia, Jante and Rebut. When you wear your coat, you wear my soul. You move through my streets freely, in motor carriages and on foot. You have access to the hidden places. You also circulate among those who are hidden. I need you. You can keep me on this earth. Be vigilant. I love you.
An officer of the RCM is lying on the floor of a small church with his eyes rolled back and his tongue lolling out. Several others are standing around him. He slowly comes to.
Had a good rest there?
Fuck yeah! I bet you did. Those were some advanced moves, man.
That's all great, but we should really get going. We spent enough time doing aerobic exercise for today.
You might be imagining it, but it feels like Egghead turned the volume down. Such is his respect.
Man! Now, man! Now imagine if we could do that, right? But with like 1,000 people. End of human development. Mission complete. All right.
You're absolutely beat. Muscles relaxed and feet like noodles underneath.
Goodbye, officer.
Hard cop. Hard cop. Hard cop.
O pasaro de agent. It flutters by your ear. It's what the Zemoyaki, the Gradian community in Revachol, call a person who never breaks under interrogation. It's an organized crime term.
Excuse me?
She's attempting to remain calm, but the phrase made her flinch.
What do you mean? All right. My father was a Zemyaki. He died years ago. He was a bad man. Not a lot of good things to say about him and what he did. He bought the family a huge house, so we got to live, at least temporarily, in a giant castle in Jamrock. And then he died. You and I both, although I don't have to imagine. The competition came and took everything away. It was like in a war zone. So after his death, we had nothing left, and we were in danger. My mother had to change her name, mine too. We left it all behind. It was a stupid idea, and I'm still disappointed I came up with it.
Aren't there any local authorities who might look down on such activities?
I took that into account, of course. Coordinated the operation with the débardeurs, else they might get unhappy. Not in person, but I let them know. You can't do anything without the fat ones getting wind. It wasn't too difficult to convince them, really. It's a good thing you ended that mess, though. I felt I was turning Dadwise into a corrupt business person. Unpleasant.
Hear that? Set justice on its feet. Confront Everard. With a fluid gesture, you seize her wrist. A hand just centimeters from your nose.
No, I don't think it would lead anywhere with Evrard. He's just going to deny it.
Yeah. Have you seen Everett?
Whoa. In your hand, Pyrrolidon, the double rainbow of synthetic hallucinogens. What a funny little cap. Don't let the container is warm to the touch. Or is that just the anticipation? You suck a minuscule drop of extremely chemical smelling liquid into your mouth. There, it seeps into your tongue. It tastes like many things, all melted into one. Not really. It's just this warmth. It makes you want to share your discovery with Kim. Why not? This government develops some. Please don't actually operate any fire machines.
I'm happy for you.
His glasses turn golden as the fire reflects off the lenses. Once again, you are filled with the certainty. This man is your brother. Just don't mix it with anything, he thinks, looking you over. Thankfully, wow, Kim's badass. Or he's had a druggy partner. Look at all these guys go. Already you can tell you're going to be sloping a lot more Pyrrolidon. This stuff is going to give you insight into that little flickering light hidden
in the bottom right corner of this.
Be careful out there. Sea's calm as death, but still. Be careful out there. Sea's calm.
Get the drink on. It would be unimaginable for a human.
Be careful out there. Sea's calm as...
Get the drink.
Be careful out there. Sea's...
You think she really needs more of that after a man died at sea? What if I told you it is actually possible to go on a date sober? Before recorded history, men and women were able to do simple, very primitive things together sober. Acknowledge the situation and keep it basic.
I have, and I don't really.
You just want to go for a walk. What kind of a monster doesn't want to go for a walk? Walks are innocent.
Just a walk? I don't know, officer. I would not have taken you for an innocent perambulator. Where would this walk take us, officer?
Nothing creepy, strange, or out there. Keep it eerie and simple.
Officer, I thought we had a work of our own in mind. One that results in a solved murder investigation.
Oh no. You, come with us. Seriously, I insist. You need to understand that nothing is going to happen. We're just walking. That's it. Understood?
Having the lieutenant along is a fail-safe measure against any possible funny business.
I guess I can come along for a quick stroll. I mean, if the ma'am insists, of course.
I'm really sorry.
I do, yes. Stroll on the beach sounds nice, doesn't it? All right, I'll see the kids haven't killed each other and we'll meet at Land's End in 15 minutes.
She doesn't wait for an answer. You better get ready. gazes steadily at the waves. A sudden gust picks up her dark hair and lets it fall again, tousled, wild. She brushes a few stray locks from her eyes, and only then spots you approaching.
Aye, so here you are. I'm a bit surprised we're alone. It's mid-noon and the sun is out. I expected more drunks and teenagers. And drunk teenagers. Know that you're not the first guy to bring a girl to Land's End. This is what the locals call a make-out spot. That is not going to happen here today. I just want to make that clear, Dimples.
Her thoughts are still elsewhere, with distances across the water. Across the rusty water, that's La Delta, the financial district. In the mist-covered distance, towers rise as a rebuke to the poverty of this coast.
Drinking men aren't known for keeping their appointments. So this is what this is. Responsible. Well, maybe it is. Maybe you'll have a revelation and crack whatever you're on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves now.
She nods to you, a playful glint in her eyes. As she turns to face the sun, reflected in the waves, and the skyscrapers rising across the bay, you cannot help following her steady gaze. You should say something, anything. Maybe the tequila sunset thing.
It's a common Revacholian expression. Means drinking yourself to death. So, are you going to keep the name? Well then, Officer Dubois.
The sun reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay is mesmerizing. Your mind clears for a moment as your senses take it all in. Not just the glass skyscrapers, fragile looking in the shimmering air. River Esperance flowing into the bay.
Isn't it strange for this all-powerful thing, the sun, to be so generous towards us? You know, the best time to go out fishing is usually towards sunset, when the water is warmer.
The sun also falls on the Capeside tenements and war-torn ruins. An old sea fortress juts out, seemingly impervious to the sheen cast over everything else, shaking you out of your reverie. The sun does little for the dead, and those hopelessly lost in their own minds. Or people living in desert climates with sparse vegetation and little drinking water.
Oh, that was a bit of pride and a bit of superstition.
And a bit of conceptual unity too, it being yellow and all.
Now you're just nitpicking. But I concede, maybe desert people sometimes disagree.
There's salt in the air, and the cries of the gulls and the skuas, grit of the sand and the green glint of broken bottles. But still your gaze always returns to the dazzling street, their opulence.
It's bringing us spring, summer. It's entirely on our side, no matter what we do or who we are, for absolutely no reason. It's unlike no other powerful being, certainly no powerful organisation or government. How can that be? I guess we wouldn't really be here if that thing wasn't on our team.
Maybe some general remarks before you say something big. Work your way up to the cool.
These aren't real fishhooks, silly. They're earrings shaped to look like fishhooks. A drunk called Rosemary brought them to me. I kept them.
The wind ruffles her hair as she looks.
Thank you. I'm half Ubi. My mother was from Ubi Sunt. Not a lot of sun there, I hear, though I've never been.
The wind ruffles her hair.
I always do. I like it. It's like being on another planet, a water planet, with water worries and water joys.
The lieutenant makes a show of glancing at his watch and tapping his foot. Here we go. 2 different approaches to cap this off with style.
Aye. And a benevolent one. When did you last have one of those on your side? Well, now you have that giant thing to watch over you. So, to hell with youth. You know, the wind's gonna pick up soon, and I have to go, but... Have this. The sun's good, but it doesn't stick things. I've no. Men around here are too drunk to pose a threat to me.
The lieutenant looks at the sword with distrust in his eyes. Do not bring it into a gunfight, he thinks. Please understand, it's merely ceremonial.
Doubt it. But thank you for the company.
This is as far as it goes with her. You'd need to put a year between you and your last drink for anything more.
Farewell.
No response. He's having trouble processing it, believing it even. A moment passes. The An old door, worn by elements, guards the depth.
From here to the wall.
Man, you're like bleeding now. Of course. Drink first, story later. Not much, but it will do. The tale I'm about to tell you is an urban... There are many variations on the basic story, and the details often conflict.
Are you telling the story of the headless...
Shut the fuck up, Rosemary. Summer of 44. 17-year-old Gertrude Het is walking home from a late shift at the harbor. It's almost midnight. She stops for a cigarette near the canal.
The streets are warmed by a southerly breeze. The lights of a passing motor carriage bloom and fade in the distance. In the harbor's dark, her cigarette is a beacon, dancing alone. The image comes to you effortlessly, as though you'd walked the same streets yourself 1,000 times.
Our heroine finds herself enjoying the peace and quiet the canal provides. What she doesn't know is that her peace is about to be shattered. From behind her comes the clattering of hooves. Startled, she turns around, and what does she see? What? No, I told you this is a Martinez legend. It's a man with no head on his shoulders, wearing a fawn tracksuit, searching for the legendary fawn cap that went missing when he lost his head.
I thought that he rode a headless pig.
Well, there are many versions of this story, the most peculiar of which has the headless fawn rider riding on the back of another headless man. If I hadn't lost my keys that one time, I'd agree. Gertrude Het may have been the first to witness the headless fawn rider, but she wasn't the last. Oh no.
Tell him about the two feminists by the locks.
Fuck, Rosemary, they were dating. No one said they were feminists. Everyone always misremembering this stuff.
This wouldn't be the De Ponte Delgado case, would it?
What? You know it.
I've read the case file. But please, go on.
Right. Early autumn of 46. Ulla de Pont and Eva Delgado are fishing near the waterlock long after the sun has set. The wind picks up. A sky already dark now blackens. Water starts falling from above. The first cold rain of the season.
Two women stand on a small outcropping of rocks. One of them is wearing a purple raincoat. Thin lines reach out from the rods into the sea. Small droplets start appearing on the surface with increasing frequency.
The women are caught in the downpour. They act quickly. Eva gathers the rods whilst Ulla turns around to reach for the tackle box.
Don't turn around. Don't turn around.
When she sees something, her shriek is so violent that the residents of the nearby apartment building believe lightning has struck. But there is no lightning. Only a heavy downpour and the silhouette of the headless fawn rider looming on the horizon. Ulla makes a run for the shore, but Eva slips on a wet rock and disappears into the cold, cold canal with nary a sound. Her body is never recovered.
Naturally, Ulla de Ponte became the prime suspect in the disappearance of Eva Delgado. De Ponte maintained that it was the so-called headless fawn rider and that she ran fearing for her life. During the investigation, it became apparent that there was a love triangle, the third party being some small-time businessman. I don't remember the exact details. The leading theory was that an argument broke out on the jetty and De Ponte pushed Delgado into the canal, then cooked up this stupid cover story. No, she committed suicide before she could be taken into custody. They found her in the bathroom with a rifle, her face slowly peeling off the ceiling. Not a pretty scene.
Man, that's some grisly detail. Oh well, here's to another case closed. Anyway, that's the story of the headless fawn rider. Pretty crazy, huh? Well, Tequila, that's part of the legend. No one knows for sure. There are a couple of possibilities, though. Some say he was an undercover cop who blew his cover and got beheaded by the vicious gang.
O headless brother, where art thou?
Others claim he was a professional jockey who veered off course during a steeplechase, ended up in somebody's backyard, and got decapitated by an exceptionally taut clothesline.
Even decapitation couldn't stop his commitment to the sport. Are you that committed?
Personally, I think he was just some guy who hanged himself from a really tall tree, and the fall was so violent that his head came clean off. Coincidentally, at that exact moment, a horse happened to pass under him, and his beheaded corpse mounted.
For some reason, this does strike you as the most plausible theory of them all.
Isn't it? All. Anyway, to each his own. You want to hear any other stories? Yeah? Why don't you go eat shit, Tequila? There's no way you know a better one than that. I have to admit, that's pretty high concept. Still not as awesome as a headless rider in a found tracksuit, though. Yeah? Why don't you go eat shit? Acid gnomes? Sounds like a stupid, low-concept band. Yeah? Why don't you... Giants? That the best you got? Give me a... Yeah? Why... Do you always try to pick the lamest option possible? Come on, Tequila! No one knows. Some say he stalks Martinez to this day, and can be seen near the canal when the clock strikes midnight.
He won't, though, because it's just a stupid legend.
Aye, I saw him one night when I was right shit-faced.
Once you get in, have you remember what the net picked? Poor things. The skin once. Remember what the net picker said.
What? Fine. Let's blast SAD FM then.
SAD FM is a radio station specializing in sad, slow rock songs. You seem to know.
Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Eternally. Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last Want to be free.
The boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. Then there's silence.
Let's go.
The chain trails off into the ocean, connecting the island to the supply depot on the coast.
Ah, yes, so it seems. For bringing munitions to the island, maybe? And supplies? You could also lock the bay when you raise the chain.
As a defensive measure, lock it off that side of the bay.
From enemies of the commune of Revachol. This sea fort was a revolutionary fortification, I believe. Technically, no, it doesn't.
He's right. ICM? This feels familiar somehow.
No, an upside-down star.
With its horns in the sky, the symbol of the commune.
Insulindian Citizens Militia. It's the official name of the Communards Army, the black and white army of the revolution.
Sounds an awful lot like.
It does. The RCM may descend from the ICM. It's impossible to say. It was chaos after the war. The name was good for getting people to join us. Revachol West was mostly workers and criminals.
Nice political thoughts rush through your neocortex. It's going to be hard to say them. Carrying around all that weight on a busted crutch is making you pant.
That's just a coincidence, officer. The Co-Mail was founded in '32. No, that's the uninhabited archipelago.
A DeLorean-era symbol of Insulinda, known as the face in the sea.
After 44 years? That's not nearly enough to hide what happened here, Lieutenant Gefreiter. One of these barrels was still leaking fuel, as you saw. The city is full of things like this. Old bullets, guns, fuel.
An old cylindrical. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
Wait, haven't you heard this before? A hollow ring. The canister is empty. Dust falls from the generator and down into the ammo lift.
Downstairs, somewhere? Liquid carbon. I would imagine it takes mazout. The kind that's favored by vagrants and fuel thieves. It's been a long winter.
The lieutenant pauses. Something seems to be pecking at the edge of his concentration. He gives you a sideways look before adding,
Long and cold.
"There's no time to dwell on this moment. You've got to keep moving."
I don't know. I'm not a philosopher.
That is his idea of a joke. A small agony. Minuscule bones may have fractured, but it proves the point. He nods approvingly. He even smiles.
Someone with basic electrical skills has restored it in order to keep the room warm.
The wind outside picks up suddenly, with a faint howl. Inside, it's warm. There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of soft cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a worn-out caracal blanket.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh, recently washed.
You force the rest of the sentence out through pain, thick as molasses, no longer able to hear yourself speak.
You know, officer, you can rest here if you are feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead. Yes, anytime. If you need a rest.
You don't have to be. Books and magazines lie scattered on the... Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories. You find a magazine cathodique for electrical engineering. Then it's back to pulp. Light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders.
Someone's made themselves a home.
Soft covers, serialized fantastic. Soft covers, serialized, oh yes, under the bed. There is a rather extensive collection of critical theory, that is, dour, life non-affirming left-wing literature, published by small imprints such as Abattoir Firm and Ouzia. It's not exactly light reading.
Ouzia. I agree. Humanitarian sciences. It stands out. Not a lot of critical theory around in Havashul West.
Your incendiary remark has failed to provoke him.
Again, I am not a philosopher, but whoever has lived here, they have some education, and...
Interesting. soft covers, cereal. The greasy old spring mat.
The offer still stands. Take it. You don't look so good.
You face the concrete wall. There's less light there, in the dark corner. Like a dog, you lie there. The blanket feels cold. The entire room does. Concrete and cold. Minutes pass. Half an hour maybe. The sounds of the sea beyond grow distant. Your eyelids close until you feel yourself standing up in the darkness, right next to the mattress. Slowly, the world begins to hatch from the blackness. It's evening. glorious day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state turns around to face you. She has an airship airbag in her hand. She seems to be in a hurry. Okay, don't say you need to talk right away. Melt the ice first. This way you're already talking. But you don't even want to talk to her. She would only be cold and mean. Let her go. Let her go. This is the Holy Queen of the territories of Muindi and Insulinda. Win her back. How does that fit in here? And what is the Holy Suzerain doing here anyway?
I'm sorry. I was heading to the aerodrome. I just don't have time to...
She means she doesn't have time to tend to your emotions. What are you doing? Stop saying things like that.
I'm going to Morova. To live there, in Grad. It's 1 million kilometers away, Harry. Just my scepter, my globe cruciger, a spare silk gown, a toothbrush, travel documents. Oh, this. This is just a wreath. The crown of immortality is made of rarefied light, mana and raw palladium. It was passed on to me by the rulers of late antiquity.
She looks at the suitcase, not knowing what more to say. Then, over her shoulder.
Anyway. No, Harry. No. I don't want a massive, epic showdown. I want to go to the aerodrome. I have tickets for the 10:20 flight to Morova. Really. We don't have anything to talk about anymore. Every combination of words has been played out. The atoms don't form us anymore. Us. Our love. Our unborn daughters. It's all gone. I have to go to the aerodrome. I have to leave Ravachol and...
Oh God, whatever you do, don't try to kiss her yet. Not after that. You're still reeling. You'll fall over if you try it now.
It's not. But... I don't know why I said but. There is no but. That's it, yes. We've talked about it 1,000,000 times. You will get over it, just like I did.
Where in hell? Stop. You're only making it worse for him. You never help with anything.
It just takes some time. But I can.
She keeps her shoulders squared and her back straight, but it's clear you're still making her sad.
Yes. But that time is gone now. So, yes. It only took me 1 year, maybe 2. Phew. It's okay. No, Harry. We can't. We already tried again, and it didn't work.
Is that how it is now? We should just try all good things twice, and then give up. By that logic, not you too.
Yes, of course. You've got everything under control, and I'm hysterical because I don't know. Please. Harry, we can't be together because you're insane.
She avoids turning them to you. moist now. Her eyes. She slowly shakes her head and tries to get hold of herself.
You know what I mean. A little down. You've worked there for so long, you can't even talk like a normal person.
Questions? Did someone say questions?
This is another one, isn't it? We're in a tree right now. It's not just the lists or trees or whatever. You get sad, Harry. Other people get sad too, but not like you. You stayed down for too long. And in conclusion, you're ill. You're an old, insane man. I don't know what you mean. Dolores Day. The morning. I don't understand. Oh my God, Harry, stop. I can't do that anymore. I'm not 80 years old, I'm 32. People my age are not supposed to mourn. Oh, Harry, you shouldn't have done that. Call me like that.
You ruined it. There was still a chance. You should have waited longer. She would have called you instead.
Oh, Harry, do you really think so? We haven't talked in years. I don't want to call you. Months already.
The air gets cold around you. She looks down on her stomach, then up at you. Her black-eyed dogs wander the alleys. Apple trees hang their bony limbs low over the patchwork of... It's Dora. That's what the voice said on the phone. Dubois, yes. Dora Dubois.
Oh no, no. We're not doing that again. You don't have to hate the world. Can't you see how kind and beautiful everything is? I don't have time to deal with your pessimism. There are so many people at the stop at this hour. They're all going to the aerodrome. It wasn't a fight. I was never fighting you. Let's stop it with the apes.
You told her you loved her. She has to feel something.
Yes, Harry. I am. Things have gotten much better for me, now that I am the ruler of the known world. Oh God, it's already so late. I have to go, Harry.
Feet trembling from the steps you took. Tepid and fearful, you stand against her, her body close to you, radiating warmth. With your eyes closed, you move your lips on her mouth. She is not kissing you back. Her chest rising like a pillow, warm exhalations against the side of your mouth, her tender soul moving through her lungs. Hidden, distant, kept safe from you. Feels like soft fuzz, a bird covered in down feathers, brushing against your broken capillaries. The world's most precious material, reserved for those she lets close enough to feel it. You are stealing a touch. The delicate wreath on her forehead pressing into your temple. The silver is cold from the spring evening air. Her hand does not return the grip. Her body is rigid. A current of unease courses through it. Distrust. For you. The curve of her spine. Her shoulders hunched. Nothing, just pillows against you. Unresponsive, but for the taste of apricots. This was not about failure or success. This was always going to be horror. I should not have suggested. The moment is ending. Trying hard not to look at you. When she withdrew and you held on to her hand, she tried not to look at your face and see the expression there. Brother, you should put me in front of a firing squad. I have no words for how I failed you. She breathes out heavily, as if something painful has passed through her, and shakes her head. She shakes her head one more time.
Why did you do that to yourself? You know I don't cheat, Harry. I never cheated on you. No, Harry. Not yet. There is one more thing you have to see. I'm pregnant. Of course not. I terminated yours. Don't you remember? You poor fuck. Poverty-stricken fuck. Now, go ahead. Ask me more questions.
No, this has to end. More questions. Ask more. She doesn't know what to say.
Yes, okay. I'm glad. It doesn't sound like you're better at all, Harry. It doesn't even sound like you're a moralist. It just sounds like you want to win me back or something.
Total annihilation. We got enough.
I don't want it. It looks expensive. I don't want it. Please don't give me any gifts. We both said a lot of things. We were very young.
It was her. I can feel it. I can see it in her tender long fingers, in her wrists. Her hand wrote it, said those things.
As Queen Regnant, I write a lot of letters.
You need to recite it to her. For effect, yeah. Put a stake through your heart. She'll get hurt too. Collateral damage.
Please, Harry. I just don't have time for this. Okay, stop. Yes. Are you happy now? Then why are you doing this? Very well. I wrote it. It was morning. You slept. There was hoarfrost on the ground when I left, on Voyager Road. It was autumn. The first autumn. But Harry, please understand, it was 1,000,000 years ago. No, it was 100 million years ago. I was someone else then, filled to the brim with love for you, hanging on your every word. Oh, Harry, you were the coolest. But I am no longer that person. No, you scared it out of me. With your crying, your hysteric, the awful time we wound up having. Can't you see? I can never think you're cool again.
You're a better man now. More level-headed. More normal.
No, it's too late. I found someone for whom I feel the same love I did for you.
Your heart burns. Through the blackness you feel the treacle of blood on the mattress below you.
Harry, do you notice how none of this is very funny? You know what I meant. We're talking about it again. No.
You're a better man now.
No.
Your heart...
Harry, Stop laughing like that, please. It's scary. Is there really anything left? If not, that is very contested by modern historians. Very contested. Plus, you're only saying this because things didn't work out between us.
Stop making her angry. She won't start loving you again if you call her a mass murderer. Seriously.
You were very bad to me too. I am actually very ordinary, Harry. Below this gown, this thing you've made me into. I'm sorry for saying so. My lungs do not glow.
Then it's you. You will make her lungs glow. Your pain is not meaningless.
I didn't ask for them either.
You couldn't make her lungs glow anyway. Only cry. All the roads will miss her footsteps. A completely different world.
I have to, Harry. Really, I've already missed the
I was wrong. You don't have power over her anymore. You shouldn't have said that. I am wrong about everything. You should go on without me.
That was someone else. I betrayed her, overwrote her, and I'm happier for it. And I'm really... Yes. I won't see you, but you... Oh, Harry. This is a dream. Can't you see? I'm already in... right here, tomorrow night. Once this dream starts happening, it keeps happening. 3 times a week, at least. And Harry, it really, really looks... I'm suffocatingly beautiful. And young. And I smell of tutti-frutti chewing gum. Like I did that time when I asked you for forgiveness. After leaving you the first time. Oh yes, this is real darkness. It's not death or war. See you tomorrow.
You're up quick. How was your sleep? Of course. I was just thinking maybe you've torn your stitches. Are you ready to move on? I did not want to wake you. Perhaps I should have? Was it a job dream?
The lieutenant nods solemnly. I understand. We've all been through similar things. It can be overcome.
Okay.
He's still... You see a small metal door nest.
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable. Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
He's right. It would be better to open its big brother. A powerful engine hangs under the ceiling.
I think there's a console just southeast. Let's look around. Getting the blast door open seems like the best plan. Yes?
A strange feeling looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea. Perhaps there's someone there, under the water, waiting for you, where it has always been. Maybe you know it's going to hurt. Yes, cold and still. But love is warm, like the inside of her mouth. Yes, 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 yes. No, we're not starting with that. Not now, not this time. This thought is over. In the still mirror of the bay, you see Martinez, reflected. Tall edifices of ruins, islets and posts. There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
B triple prime. This looks like a good place to shoot from.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns.
A good place to hide. Cozy, relatively safe from the rain.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window. Quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain. The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. Trepidation, a tingling feeling in your stomach. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water, the ruins look familiar. A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B. The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the whirling in rags. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10. The doomed commercial area. The box-shaped silhouette of the whirling in rags. Its sloped roof, a tiny fleck of light catches your eye on the rooftop, sunlight reflecting off the upstairs window of Clausia's room.
What does that mean? Do you have line of sight to the window? I can see it, through the scope of a rifle. The shooter would be prone, lying on the mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure. I think we have it. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
Affirmative.
In our defense, nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere. Don't beat yourself up, officer. We did not put guns in their hands or get them drunk.
The lieutenant pauses. Regret comes over him.
We will make up for it. Here. I feel it. Where? I have always assumed it's someone local. We should move now.
There's a
B triple prime.
The trip, a small... Green paint flicks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard. The keys rattle like teeth. This keyboard hasn't been functional in decades.
The console of an antique computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out, they terminate here. Possibly. Urgence, ouvert, allumé, radiodiffusé. It sounds like this device was used to control the electronics here. Maybe it still does.
This device was used to control the electronics in the room. It could open doors, control lights.
We need to restore power before using this, officer. We should look around outside. There are barrels all over. Maybe one of them still has something in it.
The boat engine.
But officer, then we would have to swim back to the mainland. Let's just look around, okay?
The consul stands by, mutely. Jean. Soft covers. This old cylindrical generator. The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid. There's a red start. The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it.
A dim...
It's on.
Automatic boot. The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of widens as the light shines in.
After you. So did I. Not back there, but I felt it since we came here. I don't know.
A thin wisp of smoke rises from a charred black fire pit. The wind picks up.
Don't worry. I have a gun. I know. It was not easy to acquire.
A dim golden... The lighting in the room turns on with a sizzle. The dial slides under the dusty glass, dark and silent.
Insular. This is an off-air radio computer, I believe.
old man wearing tracksuit trousers leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
I did. And you opened it. How? I should have burned that console down. Reactionary rock and roll music, playing on the water.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness, a weapon of the bourgeoisie. The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate, hip-gyrating, mental illness music. It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done. It's a Triangong 446.
A samurai rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid. You heard me. It's good now, like chalk wiped from the board.
No. Put it down now, sir.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
He stares on, his wrinkled mouth moving without a sound. A strange sadness, like a song.
The future teaches you to be alone.
The present.
The present to be afraid and cold. Real music. Real Prolet Cult. That's La Revacholière, not your rock and roll misanthropy. Chanson de soldat of the black and whites.
You need to address that remark.
The job of a shitlicker. It is the anthem of the world revolution. One of 3. In Grad, they sang Brave Children, favorites of history. And in Sinyao, it was some Samaran shit, I guess. Everyone has. They named a fucking perfume after it. Talk to her. It's the drugs you're...
All around you, the air slowly circulates the islet, carrying, keep their distance.
How did it go? Something about shooting.
He waves erratically with his hand, annoyed that he can't remember. A little tremor passes through him. It was dear to him. He resents forgetting it. His gaze follows your motions. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangon, 4.46 made in Sinyao.
Worn, personalized even. Looks like this weapon has seen a lot of use, hasn't it, sir?
No response from the old man. The plastic cape around his shoulders rustles in a small bout of wind.
Jacketed, military-grade ammunition. Stable in flight. Good for hitting something that's very, very far away.
As he speaks, he stresses every word. He's liking this. The old man keeps following your motion. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession. In time.
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
The Commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
From the Insular Indian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in 07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in 08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the Commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
No. I've been on other islands, too. I was an Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago. 43 years and 10 months. It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
He just couldn't. He not, but he can now.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
Where evening comes, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, hydrogen streetlights switch on, casting black shadows. Further inland, the street grid appears dark. Unlit avenue after unlit avenue. The temperature is dropping. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41. 2 police officers step out of the Whirling in Rags cafeteria. Satellite officer Jean-Vic Mayer inspects a series of burnt black letters splashed across the plaza mosaic. Patrol officer Judith Minot points west. The fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk. The officers go, leaving behind the writing, still smoldering. One day, it says, I will return to your side.
Always waiting. For her to return.
Her who?
Girl child. Revolution. Always. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
What has he done? Perhaps a confession will lighten the load.
Yes, what? To get things going again? Fan the flame?
There is no flame to fan. There is nothing left of the world, of our dreams. I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took for reaction to take hold. Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men. It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
And this was when?
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds, storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic. The combined might of international capital, all at once, all the greed and terror in the world, tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower, huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
A terrible shame, still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring. Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know that the bourgeois are not human. I had to fight it. I had to never stop. It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender. The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world. Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone. Iblis. The black-eyed angel.
Shaitan Ahura, the darkened one.
How does anyone survive? I steal.
Now hold on there.
You're insane and grotesque. Everyone steals. Vegetables, supplies. It's the life of a dog.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
He does seem frail. Gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
DRCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns. There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund. I have been running out of that stuff. I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Yeah. I don't even know what. Inferno?
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on, more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequency's dead. At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing.
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right? Useless now. Rusted away.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys. A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground.
An old man looks inland at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it, the new bâtiment twinkling in the evening sky.
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste d'Insolande. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
Rene, the royalist on the coast, said.
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive. I answer to the Communist Party.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
If the party had surrendered, then it would not be the party. You're insane. Radio shows, speed racing, sporting goods, none of it is real. No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army. Trained, in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a knight philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology, he was like a cleric, a shepherd.
No, the opposite of that. A future human, not a human of the past.
He nods slowly, then another tremor.
No, you're not. You're part of the meat shield. The human shield that surrounds the fascists while they kill and rape. That's what you are.
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology. We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation.
The old man spits into the fire pit. He does not say anything more. A jitter passes his lower body.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce. I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay, okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while. But this is what you live for. This is the shit. The great serotonin jackpot. The solution. Going straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal. And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
What did I just say?
What did I just tell you? Don't...
The who now? Oh, yes. That one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer.
Exhaust him with proof. Pilot, the scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember. Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. You've been here a long time, Mr. Dras. too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead done his part.
You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken. Now the others are sad.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistols. I've seen you prance around with those. Jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons, eh? Going against automatic rifles with a flame bomb. Of course you got all those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? 4.46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
Like a marionette on some invisible string. This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more. Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof. There were Maybells in the grass when you got here, and Maybells on Clausia's balcony. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now they're gonna come up. You got it. Remember? The boot prints were like no modern soul.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the soles, please, Mr. Doras.
Fucking imbecile.
The maker is called Sensory. You see their V-shaped logo, but can't make out the size. These are not the unusual horizontal patterned soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the sole.
Simpler? No. This is another loose thread you will never connect. The lieutenant raised. What are you doing? He's thinking. Not now. Stop yourself.
People change shoes, detective. It was you. You were there, weren't you? Crawling and whirling in the rags. What were you doing? Some kind of reconnaissance? Preparing the scene? Listening in on her?
Trying to rack your brains. You're desperate to report something back to your masters. They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance. You've almost got him. Just the last little push.
I saw you poking around.
You've been here a long time.
He's practically... I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
Leave.
Because it's a sniper's nest, You're lost, Dwight. You're lost.
That's right.
Petty bourgeois law. You're lost, Dwight. Minions of capital.
For a 60-year-old man with